Chapter 28, The Eyes. As we prepared to ascend to the next level, Yi Sin, invigorated by the tower's morning breeze, suddenly woke up. Shirley Yang offered her some water, and though Yi Sin remained weak, it was reassuring to see her conscious compared to her previous state. Her dehydration was still acute, but no longer life-threatening. Proper treatment with plenty of cold salt water within the next day or two would resolve her condition. Eager to discover the peculiarities of the tower's summit and locate the entrance to the city's underground palace, we assisted Yi Sin to the 5th floor of the Black Tower. During the short journey up to the 5th level, I pondered various possibilities, but I hadn't expected to find it utterly empty. No statues, no pedestals, just denser script covering the walls. I turned to Professor Chun and asked, "Has this floor been damaged, or has it been looted?" Professor Chun hesitated briefly before answering, "It's hard to say. We need to check the upper level to really know what's going on here." The stone statues in the tower had piqued everyone's curiosity, so we hastened up the internal staircase to the top floor. There, we found an imposing black throne with a female statue seated upon it. Her attire was splendid, and her face was carved with a veiled appearance, her features obscured. Yet, it was immediately apparent that the statue matched the depiction of the Jingjue queen from the murals in Prince Pu's ancient tomb. Entirely consistent. Speculation ran rampant among us about the true appearance of the queen. I couldn't explain it and so asked the group, "What secret is the queen hiding? Why does even her statue hide her true face?" Fatty Riley suggested, "It's just a pretense to create mystery. The so-called most beautiful woman of the Western regions might just be an ugly monster you can't bear to look at. Otherwise, why all the secrecy? But you must admit, the figure is quite graceful. Never mind the face, at least the rest of the body is well-shaped." I chided him, "You should speak respectfully. She's been dead for 2,000 years. Stop commenting on her figure. Look at how closely the city's artifacts match the legends. If the queen really were some kind of demon, she might just jump out and bite you for all your guessing. Let's stop the speculation and hear what the professor has to say." Since ascending to the 6th level of the Black Tower, Professor Chun had been silent, busily connecting the dots in his head. Having roughly pieced together his thoughts, and upon our inquiry, he began to explain. As I mentioned earlier, this stone tower is likely a symbolic representation of a hierarchy, from the highest to the lowest, from the noble to the humble. The primary inhabitants of Jingjue were the Ghost Cave people, a tribe that has long since vanished. No remains have been excavated, preventing us from deducing the origins and background of this race. Our most significant finding thus far is that this culture revered the eye as a totem. It's a major breakthrough in the study of the ancient Western region civilization, offering answers to many puzzles that have perplexed scholars for years. Fatty then asked, "But why is the 5th level empty?" Recalling something Shirley Yang had mentioned in Prince Pu's ancient tomb, I blurted out, "Hyperspace." Professor Chen nodded slightly, affirming, "Exactly. Above the protector deity is an indescribable hyperspace, and the queen seems to have dominion over this unknown realm, as if she completely controls it." The eye-shaped totem atop the tower suggests that the queen's power also originated from her eyes. Hearing this, a shiver ran through us all. Could there really be such a place beyond human understanding? And the queen, could she manipulate this otherworldly space through her eyes, making her essentially a monster? It was a relief, then, to consider that she was long dead. Sensing our apprehension, Professor Chen continued, "There's no need for alarm. Ancient rulers often used myths to deceive their people and consolidate their own power. Like the emperors of Central Plains, each claimed to be a celestial descendant, ordained by heaven, but in reality, it was just a tactic to hoodwink the populace. The queen never revealing her face, playing at being a spirit, is not unusual either. However, these ancient relics are of immense value for studying ancient history and culture. The significance of this stone tower is monumental. Finding no other items within the tower besides the statues, we glanced over the city from the tower's summit. The entire vista of Jingjue melded with the yellow sands of the desert. The outline of the ruined city seemed to form the shape of a giant eye. After scrutinizing the area, Professor Chen asked me, "Brother Hu, you have quite an insightful perspective on feng shui. What do you make of this city's geomancy? My mind was fixated on finding the water source within the royal palace, wondering why the professor was testing me at such a time. Perhaps he suspected the queen's tomb was beneath the palace? I closely examined the surrounding topography. Pointing toward the twin Zaglama mountains to the north, I said, "Look at that black mountain range, Professor. It resembles a black dragon snaking through the desert, but it's split in the middle, like a dragon that has turned into two serpents. In my humble view, the valley in between was created by human intervention. The stone extracted from the mountain was likely used to build the city's black tower and stone figures. Ancient emperors often began constructing their tombs as soon as they ascended the throne to prepare for their afterlife. If this ancient city truly has an underground waterway, in resonance with the Zaglama Mountains, it creates a juxtaposition of stillness and movement. The ingenious Jingjue queen must have known the ill omen associated with the black dragon and therefore ordered it to be slain and fixed into place, making the city an exceptional geomantic treasure trove. If her tomb is indeed within the city, it must be of significant scale. So, there's something I can't quite grasp. You mentioned her palace is underground, and I believe the tomb is underground too, which seems a bit cramped. Professor Chin expressed his approval of my analysis. Indeed, insightful. I imagine both the palace and the tomb are underground inside the city, but not squeezed together. It's possible they're separated into 3 layers: the castle on the ground level, the royal palace beneath, and the deepest part serving as Jingjue Queen's mausoleum. The power of Jingjue was immense, compelling slaves from neighboring nations, 100,000 strong, to carve out a valley through Zaglama Mountains. Though it was a considerable undertaking to build both the underground palace and the tomb, it was within their capabilities. Legends state that explorers have visited the ancient city more than once, but due to shifting sands driven by the wind, their tracks have been lost, and some may have entered the subterranean palace, though this can't be confirmed. Naturally, it's also undeterminable where those people might have accessed the palace. Standing in the midst of the ancient city of Jingjue, knowing the royal city lies below yet unable to find the entrance, truly ignites a burning sense of urgency. We scrutinized every street from the tower, every broken house, until at last we discovered a stone structure standing taller than ordinary houses within the city center, its top layer shrouded in yellow sand, making it quite challenging to notice without careful inspection. This seemed to be our only clue. We hurriedly approached the building, which appeared to be a temple constructed from the black stone of Zaglama. Its stone door was fashioned into the gaping maw of a giant beast, and copious amounts of yellow sand had piled up at the entrance. Fatty and I dug a passage through this sand so that we could proceed, donning gas masks and using cold flares to light our way. The stone temple was grand, supported by 28 massive pillars. However, while the entrance was blocked by sand, the interior was clear of it. At the deepest part of the temple's floor lay a jade eye, naturally veined with red lines and a distinct blue iris, so lifelike it almost deceived the eye. Astounded by its craftsmanship, I thought to myself that this object was invaluable, so much so that merely laying eyes upon it or touching it seemed a worthy reward for our perilous journey into the desert. It was a true relic, the likes of which I never could have imagined without witnessing it personally. Unable to contain his excitement, Fatty attempted to remove the jade eye from the floor to place in his backpack. Despite using considerable force, the eye remained firmly rooted as if it had grown there. Concerned that Fatty's strength might damage this ancient artifact, Professor Chin quickly pulled him away, urging him not to be reckless. Shirley Yang then noticed an indentation on the jade eye, unusually shaped and surprisingly similar to the jade amulet Fatty possessed. She suggested, "Try fitting your family heirloom into that slot. It might trigger some mechanism." Delighted at the possibility, Fatty eagerly retrieved his jade amulet from his chest, brushed aside others, and fittingly inserted it into the groove on the jade eye. "If this fits, then this big eye is mine. Anyone who dares to challenge that will have to answer to me. Don't say I didn't warn you. And damn, what a find. Old Who, we've really struck it rich this time."